Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Unleashing Potentials podcast. Today's special guest is Anissa. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm freezing in Canada. Other than that, great.
Oh my goodness. The
Yeah,
weather here, the weather here is a little cold. It's fall, but it's okay in North Carolina.
yeah. We got snow and it's cold, but I'm staying warm.
Good. That's good.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
You're welcome. So, Anissa, why don't you start by telling us who you are and what you do?
Well, hello. Yes, my name is Anissa Bass, and I am a new author. I wrote a book called 44 Life Lessons of Hurt, Love, and Triumph.
Mhm.
I wrote this book last year, and I'm also a nurse by trade, a veteran. I was in the military for a while, and I've done some acting, I've done some producing of movies, film, and modeling. So as of late, I've become more of an activist. I lost my husband last year before I published my book. I lost him August 10th, 2022, to stomach cancer. So now I've started a foundation in his honor. It is the Anthony L. Bass Stomach Cancer Foundation, and I've been busy doing work, with those things. So yeah, I've been a little busy.
Yes, you have. Wow, that's amazing. What kind of acting and movies or shows did you do?
Oh my goodness. So, about 10 years ago, um, me and my husband, we actually, we divorced and then we got back together. So when we divorced, I went into this hiatus right before I turned 40, and I said I was going to do everything that I wanted to do that I didn't get a chance to do because I was married.
Mhm.
So I started acting. I started modeling. I took my first job, as far as doing anything acting. I was on the stage. Did a theater play called Soup Bones Juke Joint. It was out of Durham, North Carolina. The guy's name was Randy Fournay. I didn't get like a exclusive role, but I was able to be backstage and help out with the set direction, the setup, costumes, stuff like that. So I got my feet wet. If I could sing, I would have been put in the front, but I can't really hold a note too well. So once I met those women and men, those actors and actresses and comedians and, models and just different artists,
Mhm.
that formed a family, that formed a union. And we all kind of just, pitched in and helped each other with different roles and different things that we wanted. So I landed I landed another role on Lover's Lane, which is a production by a friend of mine. His name is Karlton Clay. He is like the Tyler Perry of the Carolinas and of Georgia,
Yeah.
because he has written so many wonderful shows and plays and sitcoms and different things. He's an amazing person to work with. He actually gave me one of my first roles on his production, and I actually helped him produce one of his episodes.
Mhm.
So after that, after I did Lover's Lane, I did another show that he had called Bondage, and that's where fans were really able to, see me. I played. It was a gritty, sexy, kind of in your face type
Yeah.
situation. It was called Bondage, so you can imagine people were having different things that were keeping them suppressed.
Yeah.
But and since then I've done a couple of other movies, or I've done some guest appearances. The latest movie that I've done, I worked on a film with a friend of mine by the name of Michael Ray Anderson. It's a story about his life. It's called A Polished Soul, and I played a nurse. It's his real life story about his struggles with the things that happened in his life. So I was very grateful to get those acting roles.
Mhm. Wow, that's amazing. I love
Yeah,
how acting and movies can bring messages of hope to everybody. And
absolutely.
the person doesn't have to speak the language that they're watching the shows or movies in. That's amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. I think it's just like music. It brings us all together.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me more about your book. What did you write in your book, and what was your source of inspiration?
Well, I started the book. You know, there was a shift that happened in the universe. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, and if you're receptive to it, it's definitely going to speak to you. So I had, I had a lot of awakenings and a lot of downloads coming to me the year before my husband passed.
Mm,
And I kept waking up at 4:44 a.m. The numbers 44, were very significant to me because when I looked them up and I really studied numerology and the meanings behind these numbers, all of these numbers, the 1111, the 222, 333, whatever these, synchronicities is in the numbers, those are downloads and messages, okay, for you to pay attention to what, God, source, or wherever you get your inspiration from.
mhm,
Those were messages for me to do what it was I said I wanted to do. So if I wanted to open up an ice cream shop, then, it was like, okay, get up and, here's some information for you.
mhm,
And so once I started waking up and realizing that these downloads were coming in, I
mhm,
know this sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, this is what inspired me. I started writing my book. It was like, okay, start writing your book, start talking about things that's happened to you in your life. And I said,
mhm.
what, who's going to listen to this, and I'm thinking, I'm just writing this book, I'm going to write this book just for my daughters.
Mm,
But no, source was like, no, this book is going to touch millions of people. I want you to talk about everything that you've been through in your life, if you can be brave enough to do that. So I said, okay, I won't be afraid. I'll open up and I will really find courage to save somebody else because of the things that I've, dealt with. And
mhm.
I'm thinking my things aren't that bad, as compared to somebody else's things.
Yeah.
But source said it doesn't matter. Somebody somewhere is depending on you to tell your story.
Yeah.
So I just started writing it from there. And when I started writing it, I'm telling you, it just came in like a flood. And it took me about 9 months to get the book written because I kept having imposter syndrome where I would doubt what I was saying.
Yeah.
But my husband encouraged me to dig deep, be honest,
Mhm,
be transparent,
mhm.
and just put it out there. Even the stuff concerning, excuse me, him and I and our divorce and how we got back together. I just was really honest
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
And once I became honest, it just flowed out like a river. I'm telling you. And my book is doing pretty good. I think it's doing okay. I haven't really checked I haven't checked the sales of it as far as online. But as far as the books I have on hand, they're all gone. I got to order more. So it's doing pretty good.
Yeah. What's the title of the book again?
So the name of the book is 44 Life Lessons of Hurt, Love, and Triumph.
Oh,
And it can be found on Amazon.com,
mhm.
Books A Million,
Yeah.
Barnes and Noble,
Yeah. Yeah.
Walmart, Target, wherever books are sold, that book is available.
Yeah. Are those 44 lessons from your own life or just things you've experienced with other people?
My own life. These
Wow.
are my lessons.
Wow.
Yeah, and I gave some more at the end. I added some more lessons because my husband passed away. So I had to include really three more lessons.
Yeah. Oh,
There's three more lessons at the end of the book. It's like sort of like bonus lessons.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
I'm
had to.
sorry about his passing. If you don't mind, can you go into more details of what happened?
You mean concerning my husband?
Yeah. Yeah. Because you said you wrote for him and, raised
Yeah.
awareness for what he had.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So, my husband was a wonderful man. Oh my God. I will talk about him until the day I die. I am so grateful that I had love in my life for 20 years.
Wow.
I'm so grateful that this man and I were able to forgive each other and get back together. And, spend 5 more years, which totaled 20 years. My
Mhm.
husband was 48 years old. when he was diagnosed with stage 4 advanced stomach cancer. He came home last year during a Easter break, and I noticed that he was limping. Me being a nurse, I immediately said, we need to go see about your limping, because he thought it was his boots. It wasn't his boots. It was his limping, because something was going on with his leg. His blood flow in his leg was being compromised, you know. So we took him in there. They didn't find nothing. They said, oh, yeah, it's just maybe a leg cramping. They put him on Robaxin, which is a muscle relaxant, and they sent him home. So against my wishes, my husband got in his truck and drove 10 hours back to Memphis, Tennessee, where he was located, where he was working as a paving foreman for this company called RC Construction. He was a white hat. So that means he was one of the top people in charge. They really depended on him to be there, and he wasn't going to miss work. When he got there, he could not breathe. And so he called me frantically saying that he needed to go to the emergency room. So he went to the emergency room, and then that same week, my oldest daughter, Natasha, was preparing for her master's degree graduation ceremony. So we were dealing with her stuff, you know, me trying to be there for everything she's got going on, and then my husband getting sick. So of course, all of us felt like, oh my God, the wind had been knocked out of all of us, all of our family. Every member felt it. And so I got in my car, and my son-in-law, Marvin, drove me up to Tennessee. And when we got there, my husband was really sick. He was a sick man. You know, they found blood clots in his lungs. They found that he was anemic. He was needing blood transfusion. At the blood transfusion, they did a scope. 2 days later, on the day our oldest daughter graduated with her degree, we found out he had stomach cancer, and that it was, you know, advanced. And so they, at that time, told us, yeah, we can remove it. It's fine. He's going to be fine. But he didn't want to do the process there. He wanted to come back here. So that in itself was a process, trying to get my husband, drive my husband back here to North Carolina, because my son-in-law had to catch a plane to be back for my daughter's graduation. So I ultimately ended up driving my husband back, and we had 2 more hospital stays during that 10-hour drive that I was trying to get him back home. It was a mess. It was a mess. I almost lost him like 3-4 times. Okay. I'm talking about just like he probably could have just passed out on me and died. It was that strenuous. Yeah. But I got him home, thankfully, and got him set up to get surgery. We went to do the surgery on May 25th, 2022. I'll never forget that day. And they told us an hour, 2 hours in, that they couldn't do the surgery because it had already advanced too far. And so they glued my husband back up. They didn't even sew him back up. They glued him back up and put him in the room, and basically told us that we were going to go home with hospice and die. So I couldn't go in there and tell my husband, hey, you know, this is what they said. I had to get really strong. I had to pull some strength out of me I didn't know I had. And I had to fight, you know. There was a lot of days I broke down in that hospital room with my husband because I just couldn't believe this was happening to him. But I remember one day he looked at me during his radiation treatments, and he said, hey, are you okay? And I said, yeah, why? He said, because I need for you to get it together. Stop crying. I need for you to be strong, because you're going to have to raise my children. Wow. And when he said that, girl, everything in me, every ancestor I got gave me strength like no other. And I got myself together. And I took care of my husband until, you know, we did the chemo, we did the radiation, we went home, we had hospice, we put him in the middle of the living room. We had a hospital bed, oxygen, everything. And I took care of my husband for the 28 years I've been a nurse. This was the one time that I knew that everything I learned as a nurse was going to really, really matter, you know? And so I took care of him. Okay. I did everything. And then we got him into hospice. And the day that we admitted him to hospice, My husband passed in my arms in that place that day. So that is what happened to my husband, and that's what happened to our family. But I'm stronger than I've ever
Mm-hmm.
been. I've lost 3 babies. We've been through some things in our marriage, but this this was life changing for me. It is still life changing for me. And I'm still coping with the loss, and I'm still trying to process it. I'm in therapy. My children are in therapy. I don't want any sympathy. I just want to tell people about it. I really want to talk to young Black men. Black African American men are the number 3 population to get this diagnosis
Yeah.
and die from it. And so it is my duty
Mm-hmm.
to warn them and talk to them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo. Thank you so much for sharing. I am sorry, and it did make you stronger, and I can feel your love for him and the pain and the hurt that you feel, and the fire that it ignites in you to not only advocate but to be there for those who need it and to prevent it from happening to other people. And I think through doing that, you are uh, leaving a legacy. And I think your husband is very, very, very proud of how you've remembered him. It's not easy to go through that, and there are no words at times that anyone can say to alleviate the pain and suffering and hurt that one may feel from a loss, especially a loss like yours. And from what you've shared already, my gosh, you're a strong woman. Can I be like you when as I grow younger?
Right.
My mind. I'm speechless in so many beautiful ways. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing. I
Absolutely.
appreciate you. I'm sending love to you, and just keep up the good work.
Thank you. And speaking of work, I have been invited to go back to DC. We're going to Capitol Hill. We went already this year.
Yeah.
It's a foundation that I'm a part of now called Debbie's Dream Foundation.
Oh.
And so Debbie was a doctor that had discovered that she had stomach cancer. And in the middle of her work and her studies, she passed away. And so her friends all got together and formed a foundation in the memory of her. And that in itself was what reached out to me when I was dealing with being a new widow
Mm.
of a patient that died from stomach cancer. These people reached out to me in love, and grabbed me and said, "Hey, we're just like you, and we would like for you to come with us and go fight for money and go talk to these people about cures and preventions." And so now, the second year, me and my family will be going back
Mm-hmm.
to Capitol Hill to advocate, to ask for, money,
Yeah.
um, treatment options,
Mm-hmm.
you name it, whatever. I definitely want to be there for families, that are dealing with it, because I didn't work at all last year. We lived off credit cards and whatever money that people raised for us. We had a lot of donations from his job, and um,
Yeah.
we made it through last year. So I definitely want to be a sounding board for those families. I was lucky enough to be a nurse, somebody with that medical background, but a lot of people don't know
Yeah.
anything about the medical world. They don't know what questions to ask. It's very scary.
Yeah.
And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited about that. And I also just got asked to be a board member of a company called No Stomach for Cancer. They asked me to sit on the board. So I'm getting busy with this cancer stuff.
You're doing it. Yes, yes. And I feel that it's part of your calling. It's not something, you know how people go around, they've they've suffered, they've been hurt, and they stay quiet in the fear of what society or others may think. I don't get that from you at all. You do
No,
not
I
care.
live. No, ma'am. You know what? If God wanted somebody to tell somebody something, he told me, baby, because I am going to tell it. I'm talking about, it's going to bother me so much. It's like this happened to me for a reason. And that's one of the things in my book. It says, things don't happen to you, they happen for you. And so I had to look at the silver lining on why my husband and I would be so grateful or so blessed to get back together only for me to lose him. What is the lesson in that? Why did I lose my husband? What did I do? What did he do? What did we did not do? It's a lot of questions I have. And God said, it's nothing. It's life. It is life. This is what happened. Your husband and you had a beautiful marriage, and you got back together and you had a beautiful marriage. And now his time it's done. And he was well with it. My husband was so content at the end. I'm telling you, I'd never seen a person not complain, not cry, nothing. He was not, only thing he wanted was ice water, cold ice water. That was it. Everything else, he was okay with it.
Yeah.
It was me, the one that was frazzled. I was like, oh my God, what? He was so strong. He was so brave. He was so courageous in the face of death. He even told me in the hospital, if this is what I'm going to get, if I'm going to die at 48, my mama died at 49, I'm going to die. I mean, it is what it is. He accepted it, and so I'm drawing a lot of my strength from my husband's last words. I'm drawing a lot of who I am and who I need to be and what I need to stand for from my husband's words in his life and the way he treated people. And I'm really grateful for that,
Yeah. Yeah, I've lost 3 family members from cancer.
Wow. I'm
Two of
sorry.
them, yeah, thank you. 2 of them were 2020, 2021, right? And
Yeah.
I feel that there isn't enough being done. I am so grateful that you are a voice for the voiceless and those
Yeah.
who are afraid to speak. You are a beacon of hope and shining light for them. And the world needs more of you, more people like you who are willing to say what needs to be said. Would you say, in your opinion, that there's enough advocacy for cancer patients, especially among the Black community?
No.
Mm. Yeah.
No, it's not enough. Because some people are afraid to go against the machine. I'm
Mm.
not afraid of the machine. I'm not afraid to go against. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm looking at these people like, do you know who God is? Do you know who my ancestors are? Do you know who you're messing with right here? Do you understand this? I mean, I know people think that they have persuasion because they have money and they have status and they have all of this stuff. But I am a nurse and I have worked with people, millionaires, who at the end of their life,
Mm.
they couldn't buy nothing. There was nothing to buy. There's nothing. In the end, all you have is love. That's it. And so for me, when I'm talking and I'm speaking and I'm very passionate, anybody who knows me personally, they know if I'm fighting against something, if I'm standing up for something, I'm a Libra, baby. If I'm standing up for anything, it's going to be right, it's going to be just, and it's going to be fair. And I'm going to treat people with the same dignity and respect that I expect. Okay. I'm not expecting it in a sense where I'm thinking I'm higher up. I'm expecting it because this is what God says. This is what it is. This is the way you're supposed to be. And this is the way you should conduct yourself. You don't mistreat people or discriminate against this group or make anybody to feel left out. I don't like that. It doesn't do well with me. And so yeah, I'm gonna speak about it. I have to learn how to be quiet. Sometimes I have to learn to just be quiet and let God do his thing. I have to be quiet and let him do it. Because if I do it, I'm getting too riled up, too emotional. So I have to learn how to step back and just be quiet. My husband used to say, less is more, babe. I have a chapter in my book. It's called Less is More. So I'm just like, okay, let me just be quiet. Let me just
Yeah.
and let God work it out. And usually 99.9% of the time, God works it right on out. I just have to be quiet. I have to let him do it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And that's what gives me the passion to start a podcast.
Yeah.
I don't need the education for it. I've had life experiences for it. And
I
I,
say.
yeah, like people like you and me and many others, we have the right to speak up about what our ancestors have faced, what
Mm-hmm.
the people are facing because they look different, and what our
Mm-hmm.
families have faced because they look different.
Mm-hmm.
And we need more people to come forward, more people to speak, more actions on behalf of government healthcare system, because I'm sorry, but there are lots of gaps.
Yeah.
And who gets to pay for those gaps? I don't know. People who are not in power.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. And how long were you in the military for? Was your husband in there as well?
No, 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 just me. We actually met in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And I had already been in the military by the time I met my husband. I joined the military when I was, oh my gosh, 17. And I
Okay.
got out in 2000. So me and my husband actually got married in 2001. So the next year after that, I started this life as a new wife. But yeah, my military career, I was in Louisiana, I was in Des Moines, Iowa, and then Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and Louisiana, Monroe, Louisiana. So yeah,
Mhm.
it was not a long time, but it was enough, for me to say that I am now a veteran. And I served my country well. Okay, I did my time.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Mm-hmm.
it's different here in Canada. We're coming up to Remembrance Day, but regardless, we always say, I'm gonna say thank you for your service. Doesn't matter
Oh,
what year you did it, you were
yeah.
right, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah, I did my time. I did 3 years active, and then I did 4 years inactive National Guard.
Mm,
So I wish that I would have stayed a little longer, because I could have got more travel in and went different places. But now one of my dreams came true. My daughter is now married to a Marine. Marvin, my son-in-law, went into the Marines after my husband died. He got up one morning and he said, "Mom, I got to do something else with my life. I'm the head of this family now, and I got to do something else." And he went into the Marines and he did it. He made it at 28 years old. And I'm just so proud of him because he's given now my daughter and subsequently my family, a new foundation and a different start. And I'm just so happy that she's going to be able to live
yeah.
that that life, where she can get at least some assistance,
Yeah. Yes.
in
Yeah.
this life, because it is hard. I thank God that I was in the military, because now I'm able to reap some of those benefits from being in the military now in my older age. I'm very, very
Mm,
blessed for that. I'm very blessed for that. I don't take anything from that.
mhm,
So
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you've
Yeah.
met, you've met Wendy Williams?
Well, yeah, I met her like I'm talking to you. I can see you. We're speaking. That's how I met her, because it was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So, I'm always on this computer doing stuff. And so, I was watching Wendy Williams every day, honey. I love Wendy Williams. You understand me? I love her. I wish I could meet her and hug her neck. Oh my God. I hope she hears this interview.
I love her too. I used to watch her show.
Oh my gosh, I was watching her so much.
Yeah.
And so one day, they were saying you could join in, just join in, send us an email and we'll have you on. And I was like, yeah, right. So I did it. I went ahead and joined in, and I got free tickets. So the tickets
Oh,
were either you could fly in to be a
yeah.
guest, a studio guest, or you could do it over the phone. So because I was working at the hospital at the time, I couldn't take the time off. I said, well, I'll just do it over the phone. And so they cued me in, and they had me up on her big screen. And I was
Oh,
one of the contestants. So I was on there for I forget what where you dress up and you look nice. I can't remember the name of it, but
Yeah.
they would look at different women and say, "Oh, you were the eye candy for the week." I think it was called eye candy. You were the eye candy for the week. So I got in that
Yeah.
nomination. I didn't win it, but I got in.
Yeah.
Then they had me to do I had to guess between Denzel, I mean not Denzel, between Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall. I had to
Yeah.
guess who
Wow.
they were. It was like a face mashup.
Yeah.
So I guessed that, and she sent me $100 for that.
Mm.
And then I got on there another time. I had some personal issues going on with my sisters, okay, concerning my mom. And I went on there and I did spill the beans on my sisters because I didn't like the way they was treating our mama. So I basically asked Wendy, what should I do? Yeah, I went on there for advice.
Yeah.
I actually got on the Ian Levinsant show, but I didn't get anywhere with it because she stopped. She stopped filming, and so my
Yeah.
family didn't get selected. But Wendy gave me her advice on what I should do concerning my sisters and our relationship with our mom, and and that was that. And she
Yeah.
brought me to tears. I was literally crying on her show. And a lot of people were against me for that. They didn't like the fact that I asked her that because they said, "Well, Wendy don't have it all together. Her and her family, they're distraught." But it was really profound to hear her tell me
Mm-hmm.
to pick up the phone and call your sisters.
Yeah.
And we don't speak. We don't speak. She just said, just pick up the phone and call your sisters. And so because of that, I was able to advance myself in my therapy. I go to mental health therapy. I was able to go in and talk about a lot of things that happened to me and my sisters, as children because of my mother's life and my mother's, struggles in her life. My mother had a lot of struggles in her life.
Mm.
And so, yeah, I was very, very disappointed and upset when I saw them take Wendy's show off. I'm
Yeah.
rooting for her to come back.
Yeah. How long has it been off for? I used to watch it too.
um, so 2 years now, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it has to be at least 2 years because once she got sick, I didn't see her anymore. And I'm on her page. I'm one of the Wendy Williams fans. I'm on her page. I'm just watching
Yeah.
to see when she's gonna be coming back. But
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
she's amazing. She's amazing. She's fearless.
Mm-hmm.
She said what needed to be said. I love Wendy Williams. A lot of people didn't like her because they felt like she was a little too honest or she picked on people or said, but she said what needed to be said. That's why I liked her. She called your bluff. If she knew you was about BS, she called it up to you in your face. She didn't even care who you was or how much money you got or none of that. That's why I like her.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't. A lot of people want yes people. They want yes people on their team that's gonna always be in agreement with them when they right and when they wrong. And Wendy never did that. She never played defense. She was either all the way over here or all the way over there. And that's what I respect about her the most.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. And we need more people like that. And it's sad
Oh
that they had to remove her show because of who she was. And all of us, most of us, not all of us, walk around with a mask.
oh
And
yeah.
mine's off. So there are
Yeah.
people who like me and don't like me, and I don't care.
Yeah,
Right?
some people probably really mad at you because you got this podcast.
Oh, they are. Yeah, I'm not stopping though. I'm like, no, no. Yeah. So are you still a nurse?
I am. Yes, I actually am a nurse. Yes, I'm working I was doing travel nursing for a little while. I stopped because I'm still raising children. I have a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old here at the house still, so I can't travel too far.
Yeah.
So I'm just working as a like what they call a contract nurse.
Mm.
I go in and I bid on different shifts and different places I want to work. I have more control of it that way because nurses are needed everywhere. Okay. Every day, all day, everywhere. So I am blessed that I'm able to work in a capacity that's needed. I'm very essential. Yeah. So I'm working, but not a whole lot because I'm now in school. I'm doing some advanced studies in healthcare management because I really need to change the way that healthcare is structured around cancer patients.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wow. That's amazing. Wow. That's so amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Obviously, during the pandemic, what a shit show. Tell me, what was your experience as a nurse?
During the pandemic. Do you
My
really want to
God.
hear that? I did a
Yes,
I did
please.
a whole interview So your listeners can go to three women voices, 3WV. The lady's name that interviewed me, her name is Debbie Stokes, and she did a 2-part interview with me just on COVID alone. Okay. I couldn't talk about it the way I wanted to talk about it because I was in the middle of it. But it was a lot, honey. It was a lot, but I dug deep. I dug into my military bootstraps. I laced them up. I said, I got to find some strength to get through this because one day it was, oh, COVID's here. And the next day was, you're either going to work or you don't have a job. And so I was like, what? And so I had to go to work every day and dress out, change my clothes twice a day. I did that for a year, and I saw a lot of things I didn't like. I went against a lot of things. I didn't like a lot of stuff that they were doing. I wasn't for it, and I made them know I wasn't for it, So I knew that once I got through this COVID mess, that I wasn't staying in this organized healthcare, that I was going to be doing something for myself, or either I was going to work, like I said, travel nursing or contract nursing or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, across the world, everything fall apart. It was
Yeah.
a mess. And I'm young. I've never lived through something like this. I've
You
never.
know what's crazy? Everywhere. I was talking to my friend this morning. Everywhere but Africa. Africa didn't get hit with COVID like the Americas
Yeah.
did. And when I went to Africa, I just got back from Africa. When I went there, the COVID vaccination was not required for me to enter the country. Why is that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every other I had to get a yellow fever vaccine. I had to have, the typhoid vaccine, all these different vaccines, but not the COVID.
Yeah.
Why is that? It makes you question. It
Mhm.
makes you question what's really happening.
Yeah.
And we all know something is happening. People they just act like they're afraid to talk about it. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something is happening. Yeah.
Yeah. In the very clinic that gave me a mass exemption. I don't know if they have those in the States now or at the time. And
They do.
they
Mm-hmm.
asked me to wear their mask, and they wrote me a letter to exempt me from it because I just don't like anything over my face because of trauma, right? My psychiatrist also wrote it. Like,
Right. Right.
I got mad. I'm like, I don't like how you're talking to me. I'm not gonna wear mask because I have proof and letter of it.
Right.
I got reported to my doctor. So
Wow.
I know. It was just a mess. And
So what did the doctor do? So the doctor made you put the mask on?
No, she didn't. She said it was the people at the entrance when you walk in that help with booking and stuff. She
Uh-huh.
said they asked you to wear a mask, but you have a letter. And she said, I'm sorry you went through that. They shouldn't have you
Wow.
force you to wear one because you have a reason to not wear one.
Right, right, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just oof. And I think that people are still struggling from PTSD or anxiety, depression, and
Yeah,
mental
all of
health
it.
issues from the
All of it.
pandemic,
All
right?
of it.
Oof.
All of it. Yeah. If you didn't have PTSD before, like I have diagnosed PTSD from the military, from military sexual trauma that happened to me when I was in the military. But if you don't have PTSD or depression or anxiety before the pandemic, I promise you, you got it now.
Yeah.
I promise you, you got some form of it now. You got to because of everything that we just went through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody felt it. Everybody felt that. I know they did.
Yeah. I'm diagnosed with PTSD too. It's
Wow.
not fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I pray that you're getting your treatment and everything that you need to take care of that and be able to deal with that because it's not easy.
No. And I chose to advocate for myself because
Mm-hmm.
it's not something I would have done years ago, right?
Right.
I would
Right.
stand up for myself and say no. And now
Right.
I'm doing it because obviously I respect doctors and what they do. I respect people until they give me reasons not to respect them
Right.
because I'm the patient. I know
That's
my
right.
body. I live in this, right? And I think it
Right.
has to be a healthy relationship between patients and doctors because obviously doctors know what they're talking about, but How about listening to the patient? What happened to that? Where did that go?
Please listen. Please listen to the patient. Please listen to the patient. Yeah.
Where did that go?
I'm big on patient advocacy, since I was now sitting on this side with the patient. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wasn't just in there as a nurse. I'm in there as the patient's wife. So yeah, I understand. Listen to the patient. The patient is telling you exactly what's wrong with them.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
Very,
then yeah, go ahead.
it's very important. It's almost like saying the customer is right. You know what I mean? Like if you're shopping somewhere and they say, "Oh, the customer is always right." Well, the patient is 9 times out of 10 right because there is their body. Unless they're in a debilitated state and they don't know what they're talking about,
Yeah.
the patient, you should listen to the patient. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. What are some of the many common myths that you would say someone like you who's a nurse and had a sick uh, husband? Because the myth sometimes is that, oh, they have doctors in the family or nurse in the family. And tell me, what are your thoughts?
Um, well, as far as the myth go, I would say my husband, it was beneficial
Mm-hmm.
for him to have me as a nurse, but I couldn't I I couldn't really. It was the patient. You understand what I'm saying? Like he made the final decision on the chemo. He
Mm-hmm.
made the final decision on the radiation.
Yeah.
It wasn't me, because had it been me, the answer would have been no, because I know what radiation and chemotherapy does to
Yeah.
the body. And me being a nurse, I absolutely didn't want that for myself. And I definitely didn't want it for him. But because he is his own person,
Mm-hmm.
he wanted to live, he wanted to fight. Then, it became a thing of a struggle, like,
Yeah.
well, my husband wants to do this, so we're gonna do it. And then they were like, well, no, he's so far advanced, it really doesn't make any difference. He's gonna die anyway. That's basically the gist of what I got. And so then it became a thing of, well, now I gotta fight for his right to get
Yeah.
this treatment because he's a taxpayer, okay? He
Yeah.
has perfect insurance. So you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna give him the proper medication. You're gonna give him something other than a tramadol, because that's what they tried to give him
Yeah.
the morning after his surgery, or the day after his surgery. They came in there with some tramadol, honey. And I said, no, we need stronger pain medicine than this. He
Yeah.
needs, look how big he is. He's hurting. I had to fight them. I had to fight them tooth and nail. They hated to see me coming in there because I never left. I was there every day, all day, and I never left his side. And I was taking his food and I was changing it. I was putting, healthy options in place because they were sending him all this crap to eat.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, you guys are just gonna feed this cancer, huh? You want it to grow real big, right? I just felt like I was against a big machine. And me being a nurse and knowing that I have a license, it was like I didn't care about any of that. I didn't care about any of that at that moment. Because I had a nurse to look at me and say, well, maybe you should go home, and let the nurses and doctors do their jobs because this is not your patient. I said, you are absolutely right. It's not my patient. It's my husband. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a husband, you're going to fight tooth and nail
Yeah.
to the death for your husband. And that's what I was doing. I was in there advocating and speaking for him
Mm-hmm.
because I knew he wasn't going to talk like me. That's why we were so good together, because I would talk. If his steak wasn't right, if his steak wasn't cooked right the way I know he liked it, please, ma'am, can you please take the steak back and get a different steak?
Yeah. 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 Wow. The world
Yeah.
needs more of you. Do you think they could handle it?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I can't handle it. You know what I'm saying? I should have been a dictator or something. I don't know. I
Oh,
don't know. I don't know. But
that's
it's okay. It's okay. They're gonna hear my voice. They're gonna know who I am at the end.
funny.
And
Well,
they were happy. They were happy that I advocated, because he was able to live 3 months with all of that. So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you
Hmm.
also advocate for breast?
Well, yeah, I had a scary a scary test. I had a scary result that came in.
Oh,
And this was before my husband got sick, and they were doing scans on me like every 3 months because they kept seeing something, and they wouldn't necessarily say it was anything. They just kept saying we got to keep watching this area. And I was like, oh my God, because I nursed my children. I nursed
yeah.
two of my three daughters. And so I had been having a lot of numbness and tingling on the left side of my breast.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what it was. So of course I started doing research. I started looking more into it. We don't have breast cancer in our family. And so I was like, well, this definitely can't be something that's going to happen to me. This is not in my family, but it can. It doesn't have to be in your family. It can just be in you.
Yeah.
And so, I have had friends. I have a few girlfriends that have had full mastectomies. I've
Mhm.
had friends that passed away from stomach cancer. So I started just educating myself more on it so I could, be in the know. I have daughters I'm raising, so I'm definitely trying to teach them and how to do their own self exams and
Mhm.
early signs and symptoms of anything. So yeah, I'm advocating for that in the sense that I am teaching my children. If they have any walks or any contests that they're doing around breast cancer, I'm entering it, or we're going to it. If it's a fundraiser, I'm donating to it. I actually just put myself in a in a contest called Fabulous Over 40.
Oh,
And yeah. And I'm number two. I'm number two. Can you believe this?
wow.
Fab Over 40 out of 65 women.
Oh,
I am number two to win the grand prize, honey. I cannot believe my ancestors because that's who did it. It wasn't me. When I went to Africa, when I went to Africa, I was number 17. And I hadn't really thought anything about it because I just applied for it maybe like in June.
yeah.
And so I was like, oh, okay, it's just a contest. I probably won't win. I probably won't win it. And so when I got back, a lot of my friends were contacting me. They was like, girl, did you know that you were number 7 in this contest? I said, what? And I went online and I looked, I said, oh my gosh. So then when I started really like looking at it and sharing it and telling people about it,
Yeah.
I went from being number 7 to number 2. Then I was number 1. Now I'm back to number 2. And tonight is they're going to do another cut tonight. So out of 20 people,
Yeah.
they're going to cut it down to 15 tonight.
Ooh, wow.
And the contest ends December 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
The grand prize, it's a it's a breast cancer
Mm-hmm.
foundation, okay? It's centered around breast cancer. So all the donations that people donate to me for my vote, you get one free vote daily, but every other vote after that, if you want to vote multiple times, of course, is in increments of $1 up to $250. And all of that money is, it's tax deductible. You definitely will be able to deduct your taxes from it because I think it's a 501c organization. So um, the grand prize is $40,000 cash. There go that four again. There go that four again. Okay,
Wow.
$40,000 cash.
Mm-hmm.
A spacation to Scottsdale, Arizona. A
Wow.
spacation. Okay, and this is my favorite. And a 2-page spread with photo shoot
Oh,
in New Beauty magazine.
wow. You gotta win that one.
I'm gonna win that one.
I know you deserve it. Wow.
My story is gonna go worldwide. I'm gonna tell this story everywhere. I'm telling you, it's coming. I know it's coming. So I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. I've already thanked God, and my ancestors and all my friends and family for the win, because I'm gonna win it.
Yeah, yeah, you should. Speaking of
Yeah.
ancestors, you just got back
Yes.
from Africa. Prior to
Yes.
recording, we were getting along, chatting about your experience. Talk
Yeah.
to me. Tell me more of your experience, what you learned, and so on.
Oh my God, how much time do we have?
Uh 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Okay. I was trying to dilute it. I don't know how I'm gonna be able to do that, honey, because oh my gosh. So I had this great friend. His name is Marathi Howie. and he is a vegan, and he has a organization called Vegan Vibe Series. Him and I were just talking about his, stay when he went to Zimbabwe, and he married a woman from Zimbabwe, and they had 2 sons. So we were talking about just my experience, just how I felt this morning, about it. And I told him, I said, Marathi, I'm gonna have to write a book because there's so much I cannot tell you. Let me just try to wrap it up really quick. So when I got there, mind you, I went there with a group of strangers. I didn't know any of these women that I went with. Okay, that's first and foremost. I threw all inhibition out the window. I said, what it is for me, it will be for me. It doesn't matter. I meet people everywhere I go. I'm a friendly woman, so God is gonna guide me to the right people I need to be with. So I went there, and let me tell you, from the moment I touched ground in Accra, Ghana, the people of that place received me with so much humility, respect, consideration, love, adoration. Oh my God, joy, everything. And then with that, to mirror what I saw, which is I saw good and bad. I saw rich and poor. I saw comfortable and uncomfortable. I saw so much that now I know that my life here in America is forever changed. And I cannot shut an eye to what's happening in Africa. I can't just close my eyes and act like, oh, that was just a trip. I just went on a little vacation. I'm gonna go back to my comfortable life in North Carolina. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. It is so deep. Like, I'm trying to figure out how to get back to Ghana, how to help with the roads, how to help, helping the children. I mean, I'm going to let God use little old me, to do great, big, wonderful things for Africa, because I believe this with my heart. Every nation of people, every continent, every country, every state, every whatever, every non-Black, person in the world, okay, has benefited and are benefiting off of the natural resources that are abundant in Africa. So what I got was, if we keep Africa impoverished and underdeveloped and no jobs, no nothing, no healthcare, no nothing. We just give them the bare minimum. But we just give them enough just to pacify them. But we continue to pull all of their beautiful resources, because everything is growing lush there. Everything is lush there. The fruit even tastes like real fruit. It tastes like this actually came from God's hand. This is actual pineapple. This is actual orange. This is actual, whatever the fruit I'm eating. This is it. This is it. It's not been mixed. It's not been added nothing to it. There's no preservatives in it. It is what it is. It's from God's seed, okay? Let me tell you something. I know for a fact that if we collectively could come together and start having roundtable discussions and meetings about what is needed in Africa for Africans, we have to first look at what we need for each other. Africans in America and Africans in Africa. We got to put that on the table. And all these other countries, once they realize that we are now trying to collectively come together and make our own individual changes for us, the whole world is going to tremble. They really are. Yeah. It has been nothing short but of amazing. It's so amazing that when I came home, my 2 daughters, who looked at me one day and said, Mom, we don't have a culture. We don't have our own customs, our own food, our own nothing. We have nothing. And you can love whatever you love. You can love whatever race of people you love. My children love Asian culture. I don't have any Asian people in my family, okay? But they love Asian culture, K-pop or whatever it is. They love all of that stuff. And that's great. I'm glad they do. But when I came back from Africa, my kids were excited. They were looking at all the things I brought, all the jewelry, all the symbols, everything that I did, everything that I ate, all the stuff I had. And they said, Mom, that is beautiful. We want to go to Africa. They never said that. They never ever talked about Africa before. They would never talk about Africa. When I brought Africa up, they was like, "No, we want to go to Hong Kong or we want to go to Japan," you know. But now they're talking about, they want to hear about the stories. They want to hear about what I've learned. They want to hear, and it's so much that I have to, I have a lifetime, to tell them everything about my stay in Ghana. And that was just in Ghana. I was fortunate enough to go to Ghana. I went to Elmina, I went to Cape Coast Castles, and I went to Kumasi.
Mhm.
And it was just so nice. I mean, it was perfect. The organization that I went through, the guy's name is Samuel Kuma. He has a business called Gold Star Premier
Mhm.
uh Travels. You can find him on Facebook, Instagram. I'm telling you, I had an amazing experience, and I've left so much out. That's why I'm sitting here
Yeah.
trying to jog my brain, because there's so much. Every day we were doing something. We were immersed in the culture. We were immersed
Yeah.
in the life of the people. We were immersed. We even went to, the Slave River. We went to the Holden dungeons, the dungeons where they held the prisoners. And my ori, my head, my chakra, my head chakra was so wide open, receiving so much downloads from my ancestors in this area, that it was like my head was like a headache. Like I had a headache the entire time, because it was so intense for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, what is going on? I was so much in tears. I was crying. I felt so much remorse, so much sorrow, and then anger, and then joy. And then, I mean, and the emotions for
Yeah.
me were like up and down all over the chart. It was all everywhere. And everybody probably was looking at me like, what is wrong with this lady? But it was just so much for me. Anybody that was a spiritual person could discern that something supernatural was happening with me,
Yeah.
because I was being affected by it all. I was really being, but I asked for that. I asked to be affected by it all. I asked for spirit to speak to me, to
Mhm.
shut my mouth and open my ears and let me hear, taste, smell, see, touch everything in this place, because I don't want to forget it, you know?
Mhm. Wow. That is a powerful trip. and I'm just so happy it leaves you with so much. It filled your soul. It's not like physically eating, but something you have in there. And I think you
Mm,
went there for a reason, for a
mm,
season. And I know you're going to do so much good there, because
yeah.
the people you meet, maybe they're waiting for you to come back, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Take your kids and you'll learn of your roots. And it's a delicious thing to do, to
Yeah.
learn about different culture, the history. And
Yeah.
now of your ancestors, and the fact that you could feel their pain, joy, sorrow, and love where they stood. that that's powerful. There are no words. I know why you don't have words, but I still get you.
Yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
can't describe it. It's in your blood, it's in your
Mm-hmm.
soul. Yes, it can stay in your mind, but when it
Mm-hmm.
sits in the soul, you can continue to download. And your book is gonna be phenomenal.
Thank you.
Phenomenal book. Start writing. My brain,
Yeah.
it gets so full, and I'm typing on the computer. I'm writing on different papers. It's gonna come together. It might take time. You might have to
Yeah.
process and reflect back, but it will come together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh. You see, I told you it's fun being on a podcast.
Yes, it is. I love it here.
Yes, yes. And I always invite guests, come back again, come pick whatever
Yes.
topic, come back again. I'd love to hear about your book once it's out, and once you start writing, and projects you're working on, and uh how your experience in DC is gonna go. Is that
Yeah.
in Washington?
Yes, it's at Capitol Hill. It's in Washington. Yes.
Okay, okay. I'm in
Mhm.
Canada. We don't have states. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, you guys have 50 states. Why so
We
many?
have 51. We have 51 states. They
51?
gave us, I think they gave us Puerto Rico. So we have Hawaii and Puerto Rico now as states.
Oh, Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I have to double check that Puerto Rico, but I want to say yeah, because you don't need a passport to go to Puerto Rico.
Oh, wow.
Mm-mm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
So
I
I've never been to Canada. I would love to go to Canada. I would love to travel to Canada.
oh
Actually,
yeah,
yeah.
come freeze with us. It's
Well, I
beautiful
think I think I'm partial to the temperature in Africa. It was very nice. It was hot. A lot of days it was hot, but
Yeah,
I liked it because I was able to wear my hair. I was able to
yeah,
wear my dresses. I was able to, to
yeah.
be comfortable in that. You can cool down, but when it's cold, I don't know. It take a lot to get warmed up. So yeah.
I had ski jackets yesterday and snow pants on top of a very thick
Oh,
legging and
no, no, no.
boots that and socks that went almost up to my knees and a toque and very thick gloves and a scarf right on my face.
And you were still cold.
I was still cold, man. I wasn't born in this weather, so and Haiti is
Right.
very similar to Africa, the weather there. So I was still cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I have two questions for you before we wrap up. I have 2 minutes. No pressure.
Okay. Okay.
First question, what is the meaning of life for you?
Meaning of life for me is to honestly reflect back your experience for the observation of God. Because I believe that in every person that I meet, good or bad, I believe that God created them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a soul there, there's a person there. And so if I meet every person, if God made us in his image, he made us in his image.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at a creation of God. I'm looking at the God in you. And I hope you're looking at the God in me. And I hope that you value my life as I value your life. I hope you value our friendship and our communication the way I value it. So I just believe in being a fair and just person.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe in living your life unapologetically. Just living your life, living your experience, living it all. And also manifesting it all.
Mm-hmm.
That means for me saying what I will say or what I will have, or if I'm saying I am beautiful, I am courageous, I'm powerful, I'm bold. All those are statements I'm putting out into the atmosphere. So everything can hear me say that. If I say it in my head, in my mind, in my heart, and I say it out into the world, then I know that that information is going out into the universe and it's going to come back to me not void. So I know that I am that I am. So
Ooh.
I believe in living my life. I know God has the final say, but
Mm-hmm.
I believe that God looks at each of us and he looks at our life, he looks at the cleanliness of our hands, and he pays us in reward for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
That's what I believe. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, nailed it.
Now that's straight off my head.
That
I
was
didn't
so
write it. I
beautiful.
don't have nothing written down. I didn't recite it. I just been like thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? I've
Yeah.
been since I got back from Africa, man. I've been thinking so much.
It did something to you, eh?
Yeah, it did. It
Wow.
really
Wow,
did.
that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Last question. Where can my listeners find you, buy your book, and support your journey?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, your listeners can find me. I am on, of course, Um,
Mm-hmm.
Facebook at Anissa Marie or author Anissa Marie Bass. I have my African name attached to my Facebook now. So it's Akosia. I might be saying it wrong. I'm still trying to practice it. Author Akosia Anissa
Mm-hmm.
Bass. online.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also on Instagram under Anissa Marie Bass, on Instagram. And then I have a beautiful website,
Mm-hmm.
AnissaMarieBass.com, where all of my information is there. You can see, my bio, you can see my actors credits, my reels. I have acting reels on there, my information about my book.
Mm-hmm.
My advocacy work is there. I have a ton of pictures on there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I have a lot of stuff on there. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
What an incredible, powerful, needed conversation this was. And
Oh, absolutely.
what a
Thank you.
powerhouse you are, man. Wow. You have blessed me, tickled me, and punched me in the gut to wake up and to speak. I got it all. My goodness, my mind. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you,
It's
Jesus, for Anissa.
it's yes, it's been my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
back again. This is my playground. I love when people come and play and just chat. It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
healing.
It
Yeah.
connects us. It really connects us, our stories. You know that.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Well, Anissa, thank you so much for your time today. I'm wishing you so much happiness and success.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys having me. Can't believe that I'm gonna be heard all the way over in Canada.
Yes, yes. Yeah, yeah, you're welcome. Yes, you will be. Yeah. I'm so excited to for people to hear your story.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome.